What if I told you that the most successful CEOs of all time have never ever made a decision without consulting one ultimate board member? What if there was a place you could go to where you could find infinite wisdom, ultimate provision, and a future-proof strategy, such as from Jeremiah? Why would you ever go solo if that was the case? In Psalms 127:1, it says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain." And so many entrepreneurs these days are grinding and hustling and grinding. And Jesus didn't ask us to any of those things. He actually just asked us to abide in him. So why are we avoiding the ultimate resource? Why do we choose to leave our Bibles on the bedstand or by the back door when we come home from church on Sundays and not actually take them into the boardroom, into the office, or maybe into the van or truck as we go to work? To use them as the operating manual, as the guide, as the source of all infinite knowledge and information. So in this conversation I want to have with you today, I want us to unpack why most of us Christian business owners and entrepreneurs unintentionally go rogue. I want to think about how our business is ultimately there for discipleship and serving for the kingdom, and how you can do that at a profit. And I want to think about how we can have our board meetings with God, how we can go and bring him to work with us. And then the last part I want us to play with really is how we actually decide as the business owner to be the child of him and let him lead the way. And I want to do all of this with you today in a way where you feel comfortable and understand that you can still run a highly profitable business while letting go of the hustle and grind reins that you think is so important to you. So if we haven't met, my name's Rob Yates. I'm the founder of Kingdompreneur, and for the last 25 years, I've coached hundreds of thousands of business owners and entrepreneurs just like you to grow their business. I haven't done this off the basis of some qualification. I did this off building and selling a business in my early 30s, and by accident got asked to share what I did with others. Bringing Jesus into this, in honesty, is something quite new to me. It was only just a few years ago when I left Jesus in church on a Sunday morning, and maybe in prayer before bed at night. But it was only a few years ago where I pulled my car over at the side of the road on my way back home and said, "Jesus, if you're real, now's the time." It turns out he's real. It shouldn't have been a surprise to me, but it was a shock. All of the problems I was facing that I thought could bring my business to a grinding halt, or me to a grinding halt, started to get solved quickly and easily, all by me actually putting him first as opposed to me first. And so let's kick off with why many of us are unintentionally rogue, why many of us choose to leave him behind and believe that we're clever enough, or some other human being is clever enough to outthink him. You know, it strikes me with amazement that we actually pray after the decision as opposed to before. We tithe after profit, and we ask God's blessing usually after we've already built a strategy and committed to it. The reality is that the kingdom works differently to this. In Proverbs 3, 5 and 6, Solomon wrote, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths." You see, in business, we're often leaning into our understanding. We're leaning into some other guru's understanding and not his. And my experience is that this can cost us years and decades in a business that we don't need to spend hustling, grinding, and feeling like it's a job or a job, when actually it's the greatest gift for discipleship that we've ever given. You know, most businesses and most funnels and most marketing and all that stuff fails not because of tech, but because of the wrong foundation. If God's not your CEO, your tech, if he's not the leader, and if you're not using his strategies to go and grow your business, then maybe this business is just God's way of leading you to burnout, to teach you to follow him and put him first. Because businesses that put God first leads to breakthrough consistently. And we see this so many times with our clients. I could tell you about Jean in Johannesburg, South Africa, who's gone from almost bankrupt to running a multinational business in months just by putting biblical strategy first. I could tell you about Brad in Florida, who's gone from being a struggling insurance broker to the head of technology for a 7-figure corporation in just 4 months by following biblical sales strategies. You see, your business is there for more than just your profit, the sports car, the yacht, the plane, the house, or the vacation. It's not there for you to beat yourself up with, and it's not there to be some form of repentance or something like that for anything you've done wrong in your world. You see, your business is there for you to disciple. And you maybe think, well, that's weird, Rob, because discipleship's the thing that's spoken about in church on a Sunday morning. So how's that relevant to me? The first thing I want you to kick off with is that discipleship really is about being the first Bible that people read. It's about supporting people on a journey to Him and with Him. It's about community. It's about belonging. It's about education, sharing, and most importantly, it's about love. And so the value of your business really is linked to how many disciples you have in your business. But who are these disciples? Well, your disciples could be your employees. Your disciples also could be your customers. And it's crazy that the more customers you have, the more employees you have, the more humans you have in your ecosystem, the better you look after them, disciple them, and the longer they stay, the larger the value of your business becomes. Almost like God created that on purpose. And so many of us the entire time are trying to not employ. We're trying to slow down the employment process. We're trying to avoid employing people. But often what I find is when somebody employs somebody, the number of customers in their business increases. We avoid marketing because we don't understand it and it's hard. And what if it doesn't work? And what if it takes time? And really we want customers in 36 seconds, not 36 hours or 36 weeks. And yet marketing is the start of all good discipleship. Introducing a concept to a stranger so that they get to know it, like it, trust it, eventually love it, and then buy into it, just like Jesus did in the New Testament. And so I want you to consider for a second, when God is the CEO, customers actually turn into divine appointments. Profit becomes provision with purpose, and growth, well, that becomes kingdom impact. Now, I know in your heart of hearts, you feel like you were made for more. You were born for more. You feel like you deserve more. You feel like you should earn more. And you know for certain that you could give more. But I want to tell you that all of those things are true, but they're probably not going to turn into reality unless you make a difference. Unless you choose to go and aggressively target marketing as how you spend your time, what you learn to master. Unless you learn to go and pursue sales as a way of bringing people into your business so that you can disciple them. Unless you can go and solve people's problems for yourself, not in hundreds, maybe in thousands, or maybe in hundreds of thousands of customers. And so here's how I would suggest you could bring God in as the CEO of your business. The first thing I'd suggest is some form of daily alignment, some form of 10-minute CEO check-in, just as Matthew would suggest in 6:33. Why not start the day with, Lord, here's my to-do list. What do you want me to do from it? Lord, what's missing on my to-do list today? Lord, how do I best use my time today? And Lord, who can I show more love to today that actually really, really needs it from me? Not because necessarily it's going to make you a millionaire, but because it's simply the right thing to do. Because in business, God believes that your care and love for others is more important than anything else, especially when you show love to Him as well. I'd also encourage you to bring God in before every and any major decision. Ask, Lord, does this honor you? Lord, am I making this decision based upon fear or based upon faith? You see, God works in the weirdest and most incredible of ways. I took a big loss in the business just a few months ago. And in honesty, on Sunday morning, I was sat in church feeling a bit bleh. I sat there and prayed, and what I got back was double your tithing. I sat there terrified, but nevertheless, I took out my phone and did just that. I didn't know how double my tithing was going to work, but at some point in time, we have to stop making human decisions and start making kingdom decisions. Not because it makes any sense, because that's what we're required to do, follow the Father. The craziest of things happened. Within 5 days, I got a new coaching contract that 4 times over paid for my tithing to be doubled. It wasn't even hard. It was a customer from 5 years ago who appeared out of the blue and said, "Can we have a coffee? I want to start coaching again. I guess your prices have gone up, so whatever you're charging now, invoice me. I'll pay today. Can we start next week?" You see, the Lord says test him. And I think we have to. Not just test him without us putting our effort and our skin in the game, but to actually step in with both feet and swim in that same pool. You see, God's not just interested in your Sundays. He wants your spreadsheets, he wants your sales, he wants your marketing, he wants to be involved with all of your hiring decisions. He wants to be involved with every aspect of your life. He wants to guide you, support you, love you, cherish you, and take you on the path he already has planned for you. And what he definitely doesn't want you to do is ignore him in your daylight hours, Monday through Friday. He wants to be present with you. And so why not just let him be? The results when God is your CEO, well, in Deuteronomy 8:18, but remember the Lord your grace, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth. You see, when you surrender, you stop guessing. When you surrender, you stop hearing. When you surrender, you move from striving to stewarding to scaling. You know, great ways of thinking about this is obedience can lead to opportunity. Stewardship will lead to strategy. And kingdom collaboration will actually give you more control. You know, when we stop chasing the money and start chasing looking after and loving his people, it's incredible what happens. We de-risk our business with the more people who we sell to. So many people out there, and I hope this isn't you, have one client that pays 50% of their bills or provides 50% of their turnover or more. Just one. I don't want to ask you what happens when that one client decides that your prices are too high and cuts you down to break even. And you keep them out of fear. Or that one client who says, "I'm off, I've gone bankrupt, sorry, I can't be your client anymore." And then you literally lose half your business overnight. God knows that this risk is present in your world. And by stewarding more of his children, discipling more of his children, dare I even say it, loving more of his children, you de-risk your business the entire way. And all you do is give yourself a platform to grow from. You know, I chased money for so long. Everything was about the possessions and the targets and the cash. And I have never been spiritually, emotionally, and financially better off than I am today by stopping chasing the money and actually chasing a volume of his children to work with. And so I want to ask you today, what is there that you can do to bring God into your office, into your truck, into your van, or into your boardroom more? How can you appoint him as the CEO and then actually treat him as the CEO and use his strategy in the Bible to grow your business with? When you make this decision and decide to follow this journey, there is only one thing that will happen to you, and that is growth bigger and better than you've ever seen before. More prosperity, more happiness, more abundance, more joy, more health, and more everything. So if this has been any use to you, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. We'd love you to subscribe. We'd love you to like, follow, comment, and any of those things there. But most of all, what we'd really like you to do is go and bring God in as your CEO. Appoint him fully and then follow his lead, because he's waiting to do that just for you.